What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing just little things here and there around the S13, but before we get into that, let's roll that intro. So before we jump into that, I just want to do question of the day. Front wheel drive or rear wheel drive? What side are you on? You might guess which side I'm on because I do have a 240 and I do love my 240, so that's probably your answer right there. But comment down below, I want to know which side you guys are on, because in each side there are fun cars for both teams. Which one do you guys fall under? Just let me know. But now we can jump into the video itself. We have to do a few things here and there. We're going to do a couple wiring things because I did forget about the ECU and the digital dash when I did the chassis harness, unfortunately. So I've just got to run some wires for those, and then I've got to notch the little custom ABS plastic radio bezel. That piece that's super expensive if you break it, and it's always broken. Yeah, that piece, I have to cut into that piece to notch it out so we can shift into first, third, and fifth. And then once we do that, then there's a couple more things that we have to do. Right now I'm just trying to figure out which wires I need to hook up in order for the RB to run correctly. This wire is the ignition start signal. That I have to have wired into essentially to my start button. So I've got to splice it into there because it only needs to see 12 volt when it's starting. It doesn't need a constant supply of 12 volt power. So when you're doing any kind of wiring, it's a good idea to mark stuff. That's why I've got all that white on those. Those are all labels, like the injectors are labeled 1 through 6, the coil packs are labeled 1 through 6. And everything is like the air idle control valve, all that fun stuff. That's all labeled because maybe down the line I forget, or if I don't work on this car for a while and I need to, then down the line I can be like, oh, okay, everything's labeled. I already know what everything is. This is sort of like a short-term reminder. Is taking some blue tape and just writing on the wire what it is. And sometimes you can just put exactly what you need to do with it. So this, I have to wire it to the start button because this is the wire that needs 12 volts only when the car is starting, not when it's running. So I don't need to hook it up to a constant 12 volt. I have to hook it up to the start button, which goes to the starter. So yeah, stuff like that will help you remember what you need to do, because you never know if something could happen and then you aren't working on the car for like a month and you forget everything. So having all these labels is really nice. Off this nasty gray corroded plug, I just need these 3 wires to have power. This one gets the start button, the other 2 are constant. That's why I've got the wire nut, so I know that these 2 are the same. That whole section of harness is on the engine bay side of the whole harness, which is not a good thing because I need them in the cabin because my battery is behind the passenger seat. So I'm tracking down where the wires go because I already wrapped the harness by mistake, not realizing, hey, I still need to figure out if those wires make it over here. So far, the red and the black one does, and the way I know that is I found this wire that's red with a black with a red stripe, and you can see it's exposed there because they crimped it at the factory. So I stripped this end right here. So you get your multimeter and you set it to there. That's the little horseshoe guy, and you put one lead there and then put the other lead there. Now you see it's beeping. That means it's completing the loop, so that is the same wire. So we're good there. We can get rid of that wire and we could splice somewhere in here for it, and we don't have to worry about that one. So now we've just got to track down the other 2. Hopefully they go into there. I know one of them for sure goes into there, which is the ECU memory. that goes to here. This wire right here, that's the ECU memory. So we're good there. Now I've just got to do the ignition relay one, which actually does go in there because the ignition relay is one of these relays. So I believe it's this wire here. I'll double check right now, but I believe that's what it is. And if we're good there, then awesome. Okay, so I went ahead and I did a little bit already. This is our switch that, it's sort of like an ignition switch. We turn it on and then the start button gets power, and then we can press the start button and start the car. And I've also got this thin black wire, that's the power for our daytime running lights. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out, it's pretty fucking sweet. And then we've also got this wire here. This is our power for our digital dash. Once we get that, this is what's going to be going to the engine harness. This wire is going to be on a switch. I think there's 1 or 2 wires on the engine harness that need to be on switched power. And then the ECU I'm going to put on constant power. I'm going to run from the battery to the ECU just because I've heard that it's not bad to have it on a switch, but I'd like to avoid any problems, so I'm just going to run it straight from battery to ECU, call it good, and then we'll have this switch, turn that on, it turns on our dash, and it turns on the ignition on the engine, and then it turns on our start button and our daytime running lights. It's almost like when you turn the key to accessory, and then then you turn it to start and it starts the car, but you turn it to accessory, it gets everything ready, turns the fuel pump on, everything. But our fuel pump is actually on a switch. Speaking of the fuel pump, I hope that picks up. The fuel pump turned on. It's actually kind of quiet, which is nice. The fans are super fucking loud, so when the fans are on, you won't be able to hear it. Plus, when the motor's on, you won't be able to hear it. But we've got our fuel lines done. I did that off camera, and we've got our fuel pressure set to 43 psi at wide open throttle, which is essentially the fuel pump just going and going and going. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, that's done. We don't have to worry about that. And now these 4 switches have purposes. These 2 do not. I don't know what to put on here. Honestly, I could put the display on here, but I don't want to. I've already got the switch up there. I don't want to have to press another switch for that. So we're just going to leave it as is. So as you guys saw, we got our wire over here, and then we've got our wire up there. That red one, that's for the power for the dash. So those 2 wires are on the same circuit as my start button and also my daytime running lights. So I turn the switch on, and then I can start the car, and the daytime running lights will be on, and the ECU will get power, and the dash will get power. So you might have noticed I cut out the notch for our shifter. I did that off camera. We can now go into first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse. So we've got all our gears now, boys. So another thing that I want to get done is the plastic pieces that go on the cowl that are under the wiper blades. I want to get those painted because they are dirty and disgusting, not good, not pretty, will not match the nice clean engine bay and our nice bedline. This stuff, I haven't touched the actual paint of the car because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with there. But I mean, everything else is all nice and painted and looks good. Matches how nice the engine bay looks. I'm really glad with how that came out. Definitely check that video out up there if you have not seen it yet. So I would like up here to look pretty good too. At least decent, you know? It doesn't have to be like perfect, but I'd like it to look pretty good, you know? So we're gonna paint that real quick and then put it on, see how she looks. So as you guys can see, we've got a little bit more than the 2 cowl pieces. We actually got our valve covers on there, and I took the spark plugs out. I have to get new ones, but I just wanted to take them out just cause. Got our LS2 coil packs sitting over here. Believe it or not, they do fit in there in the valley with it closed, and you don't even tell. It's pretty great. But anyways, we're gonna scuff them up a little bit and paint them. I keep messing up the paint on the valve covers every time I put the hoist on. No matter how much rags I put there, it always messes it up somehow. So we'll scuff it up. Hopefully we can get it to stick better and not have that issue anymore. So now we cut it all on and it looks much better. It really does. Don't get me wrong, I love this color. For some reason that looks purple on camera. It's purple, but it's got hints of blue, like right here is all blue in person, and it's just great. It's a great color, it really is. The weather stripping got a little messed up over time, and I had to put a self-tapping screw in there because the little clip broke and it wasn't holding down, and this clip right here is ripped, so that wasn't really doing much, but it looks good. We'll get a nice seal. In case you are wondering, the fuel pressure regulator is fine at that height. That's what height I had it in when I had the KA in and I had the hood on. We're fine there, so not worried about that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video, guys. We got a lot done, you know, little things, but definitely needed to be done. So for the next few videos are probably going to be just small things like this, because we're in the final stages of getting her ready to start. And once we do, then after there, we can start making more progress, change things that need to be changed, and get her dialed in, ready for dyno day. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you did. Comment down below your answer to the question of the day. And then when you're done with that, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.